This is the beginning of phase 3 of getting the tunnel right. The first thing I've done, this section here was the first complicated bit to go in, and then trying to get this bit in didn't work at all. I had to scrap that. So I've now put one small piece in there, and now a second small piece in there, and because I can't get to the back of it, what I've had to do is to put glue down and then pack with some polystyrene just to let the glue set, so that it stays where it should go. The other thing that I also did, I put the wall stuck on there to the black plastic that was there, and of course the gravel wasn't right, so I had to add loose gravel because I didn't want to do anything else. And just to disguise it, I mixed up a bit of black paint with some water, and with the pipette I'm just adding black paint, which will be absorbed into the gravel, and because it's going to be in the tunnel, it's going to be dark anyway, so hopefully when the train camera goes through, everything will look pretty good. I've got the next bit of card ready to go on. That's cut, so it's ready to go in there like that. Now what I'm also doing, just a bit of black paint on there, just in the middle, just to give the sort of smoke effect. Not saturated, but just smoky. And the same with the next bit that's ready to go on. I can't guarantee they're going to fit perfect all the time, but I'm sure they will. Now, the other thing I've made, tunnel height gauge, so that roughly as I go along I will know we're very roughly in the right place. Now that is going to be across there like that, so I'm now going to just tear this section out here very carefully, so that it won't be seen when the train goes through. Marking, of course, the inside edge. And marking the inside edge will obviously give it a bit of camouflage, and it won't stick out like a sore thumb. That done, now it's the time to do a little bit of a fit. So that has got to go there and there. Okay. This is so fiddly, you would not believe it. And I've got a little dispenser of sellotape under here, so I'm just going to, he said he was, but he isn't, just gently put that there. And then I'll do the rest. This second piece of ceiling is now ready to go on. I've just got to Pritt stick it and down this edge so that it's got something to grip onto, and now that goes in there against there, and then that folds down to there, and I have to put these pieces of card in the back just to force it down and hold it in one place. Now inside I try and make sure that it's stuck very roughly the right height. Sellotape along there to hold that, and also every time test. If you don't test, you'll never know. So that's basically very, very close. The next piece, that's going to be still slightly a curved piece, but the next piece I'm going to start, these are all going to be flat now. So I should be very relieved at that, because this corner, this slope here is, I suppose if I called it a nightmare, not so much of a nightmare, a challenge. I haven't done it properly, I haven't done it nicely, it's not nice and smooth inside. It's what I can do. I'm not that skilled, but I hope it'll look good when the camera goes through. As you can see, I've now got that section, which is a nice long section in of the flat, and these pieces here, unbeknown to me, gradually went up. So what I've had to do with my tunnel height thing, I've had to just slope it down, because that was a bit too high by a couple of millimeters. Now it's about right. Again, yeah, no problem. But what I am going to do, I'm now going to get an electrified train. I'm going to put one of my engines through just to make sure everything's tickety-boo. So here comes the my 10,000. Perfect. That's proved that, so I'm very pleased with that. One of my crazy ideas for my tunnel under the hillside was to have lights in it. Now the lights being where, I think if you had a long tunnel, surely you had exits, tubes, shafts where the smoke, the steam could go out. So I thought to myself, therefore what I could do, I could introduce a light in those positions so that when my RunCam camera goes through with the engine, it will show, there will be little pockets of light in maybe 4 places. So what I wanted to do then was to construct something that I could put the light in. Now, first thing I did, obviously this is the inside of the tunnel, as it will be like that. So I decided I was going to make an entrance and create a cone. I had terrible trouble trying to get something to make a cone. And you may recognize this item here as something you might find on a hose connection. So that was my beginning. So off came that, get rid of that, off, cut that off, got rid of that, left me with this, chamfered it down, and then I had lots and lots and lots of ways or attempts to actually get a cone that I liked. So I ended up with a paper cone that worked. You might recognise this. This is the bottom of a food container. some sort of pie we had ages ago, I think. Now, so I marked it out on the metal and cut it out, which formed this cone. So this cone very roughly goes over there, and that's my design. And the next thing to do was the lighting. Now luckily I had this 5mm light. This is actually, I got it from America a couple of years ago. I got 10 of these, and it's all geared up where you can wire it straight into your 12-volt system. So if you wanted to, you could actually put it directly onto your bus wire. Now that is a bit of a problem, so I ended up with a little bezel. I'll call it a bezel. I think it is actually called a bezel, and the bulb. Incidentally, let me tell you a little bit about the bulb. What I did with the bulb, I flattened the end with a file. All right, you're okay to do it providing you don't get down to the metal bits down the bottom. And the idea of that, as I picked up on somebody else's channel a while ago, it removes the spot and just makes it more flary rather than pinpointing, if you get what I mean. So therefore we had the bulb goes in one way around. Hang on, come back. Okay, so the bulb goes into the bezel like that, all right, and then the bezel, the wire goes through my cone, and then the bezel. This is where we're going to be a bit careful, because I've just got to push the bezel up inside the cone without damaging the bulb. Okay, so we now have my metal cone, my bezel, my bulb 5mm, and my cable. And now I shall wire it up and show what it looks like. What I did with the roof, so it looks terrible now, doesn't it? But when that's folded up and that becomes the inside of the tunnel, then that's going to look okay. It'll be dark in there anyway. So I cut several lines in the paper card, semi-card, thread through the wires. Come on, get in there. Right, in go the wires. Then up comes the cone. So the cone now goes up until such time as it's going to be up close to the surface. It's going to go further than that because I haven't finished the project properly. It will go a lot closer. So when that is folded over like that, then as you can see, the lights will shine down there, and that will be illuminating the inside of the tunnel. I've just put the light on and show you the amount of light that comes through. So I've got the power source on now. I've connected it to one of the multi voltage plug-in devices that you used to get from Maplins. Why did they go bust? Wish I knew. So here we are. Don't know if you can see that. That's 6 volts. Now the amount of light that it gives at 6 volts, if you can see down there, is not bad at all. Bearing in mind that there's going to be a piece of track, he said, hastily finding a piece of track. And when you get that curved over the top, I'm doing this multi-fingered, then you can see that what you're going to see as you go through the tunnel is going to be quite good. You'll get 4 of these highlights through the whole 5 foot length. This has been set up in a bit of a hodgepodge way, but you can see, excuse the hand of God, won't you? Let's do it this way. Okay, so now you can see that the light coming through, and that's what you would see if you were driving through. You'd see that amount of light only. So that's going to do the job, and bear in mind I'm going to have about 4 of those all along its length, and I hope that's just going to look pretty good. We never know till we get it finished.